And what's cool is we have the brother Josiah Corker. That's the last name, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I was in Atlanta. Man, it might have been like a year ago. And I was like, I need a haircut. And I hit up Dre. I was like, where should I get a haircut? And he's like, you got to go check out Josiah. And so I hit him up, booked online. And I pulled up to this like real nice looking building, like real fly. Like you could tell it was recently renovated. And so you walk in, you got to get buzzed in. You got to get buzzed in and you walk in and he has like his own private like suite. And so I thought it was super dope because, I mean, most barbers are like entrepreneurs, but like he's an entrepreneur with his own suite within like the suites. And so like you really stepped it up a whole nother notch. And so I'm always interested in talking to real entrepreneurs who are really in the streets, not just on the internet, although he is on the internet. So we can talk about the internet stuff, which is helping his in-person stuff. But yeah, I know we're going to get a lot of value out of this conversation. So welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, man?
So can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, where you're from, what life was like growing up?
Oh, man, I'm a 21-year-old barber in Atlanta, Georgia. I'll be 22 this Wednesday, November the 9th. Shout out to November. But man, where can I start? Well, I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, or in Decatur, and man, like I always used to try to fix my haircuts growing up, and that rolled over into me cutting hair in college at Clayton State for a year. Dropped out, went straight to barber school, and the rest was history.
Yeah. So, were you always entrepreneurial, or was it something you kind of picked up later on?
Always, man, always. My dad, he always taught me to think outside the box. Like, we'll go to Taco Bell, and he would make it a joke, but now that I'm older, I realize what that meant. Audio's good.
Yeah, you good, man.
Okay,
I was
okay.
just my seat, so I wanted to keep turning.
Yeah, but
we got Dre in the building, man.
Brother Dre.
Dre didn't want to miss out. So he was telling us about how when he was younger, he had to think outside of the box. He didn't know what that meant until like recently. So what do you mean by that?
When he was younger, being 21 years old.
Right.
It's crazy.
That's an interesting thing. It's like, man, how far back can we go? It's not that much far to go.
Well, man, where did my entrepreneur? Of course, everybody did the lemonade stand or whatever. But I remember when I was in middle school, Smarties were a thing. For some reason, kids used to smoke Smarties or just eat them or whatever. And I figured out that a lot of kids were using them in school, whether it be eating them or doing whatever they're doing with them. I asked my dad, I was like, hey, Dad, can I get some money? Because the kids at school, they love Smarties. So he was like, all right, tell you what, go to Dollar General, figure out how much they are. And then I'm going to show you how you can sell them and how much you're going to make off of them. He did the whole, profit, expenses, gross, net, that whole shebang with me. And I want to say in middle school, man, I probably made like within the first week, like a few $100s just off of Smarties, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But I put that down because the teacher started to crack down on it.
That's what I was going to ask you. Usually the teachers crack down on it. I don't know why they cracked down on it. I was in middle school and I was selling suckers. I'll go to the store. You can buy a box of suckers for like $3 and then take them to school and sell them for a quarter. That's it. You can make some money.
Same here. That's what I don't look about the public school system is they need you to think how they need you to think. And anything outside of that realm, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Get out
Right.
of here.
Right. Even if it's right.
Even if it's right. It's just not the cookie cutter way of thinking. It's crazy because I was never a good student in the public school system, but 4 years out of being in high school, I had a property.
Yeah.
5 years out, I had two.
Yeah.
6 years out, I had a business. Right, but I was never good in your system. Or maybe you guys should adjust to me.
Yeah, maybe your system sucks. Maybe your system is trash.
Well, I mean, guys, we know that the system is designed to breed workers,
Right.
Not entrepreneurs.
Yep.
And it's just crazy how entrepreneurs seem to, rise above or amongst the people that their peers that they go to school with.
That's
the people,
very true.
The popular kids, the kids that had the girls that wore the nice shoes. It seems that they were focused on the wrong things instead of selling suckers and Smarties.
Yeah, and they also kind of look down on the people who sell those things too. It's like, you only had to sell 50 and the school has 5,000 students. Come on, man. Bro.
Yeah.
You can sell a box of suckers a day. So where did you go after that? Like, what else?
So I went to barber school. Yeah, I went to barber school on Kendall Road right in Atlanta, Beaver Beauty school. And it was actually a beauty school. I was the first barber to graduate from there. But after that, I went and worked at a suite in Stonecrest Mall called Salam Milan. It was a terrible location. It was ducked up under the escalator, but it was actually a suite. And I was actually working in there before I started and enrolled in barber school. But you know how it is in Atlanta. You know, you can kind of slide in if you're good at what you do.
I didn't know that, but that makes sense.
Yeah, but
Why do you seem to stick to the suite model instead of the traditional barbership model? Why is that?
because you get to control your own atmosphere,
Right.
and that's a big part of customer service. So there's three C's to business. You got what is that? Convenience, customer service, and consistency. And with customer service, if you know you got a colleague that likes to blow trees or whatever, that may interfere or cut in on your business, and I can't have that.
Is it more of a risk to go the suite way? Because I mean, you still got to pay, but is it like?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because the second shop that I worked at was commission based, where I actually sold like high end colognes, Baccarat Rouge, Bond Number 9, Creed, all that kind of stuff. But the reason why I went the suite route is because you can really control what you do. Now, my advice to a barber would be to, hey man, look, get your license and get in a shop that's on commission that charges a rate that you're comfortable with. That's how I hacked the system.
Yeah, because then you don't have any upfront there's no overhead at that point.
Exactly.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And you can build a clientele and all of that.
That's what you do currently?
Oh no, that's what by that. What do you mean?
The commission model.
Oh, the commission model? No,
Okay.
no, because it doesn't make sense for me being a
Now that you have a clientele.
exactly,
Yeah.
which I'm still building, by the way. If you're in Atlanta, get at me.
Where can
Shameless
they
plug.
find you? Where can they find you?
Man, you can find me on Instagram at Mr. Josiah Corker and on TikTok at Mr. Josiah Corker. That page is coming up. But yeah, go follow.
Now you're high end. Is that the proper
Yes,
word?
high end luxury, professional.
Okay, so you charge $60, but someone might charge $20 or $30.
Yeah.
What gives you that kind of guts?
Actually, I didn't have those type of guts originally. Now, my dream when I was in barber school was to charge $50 a haircut. That was the you've made it mark. And for me, what I did was I kind of hacked the system. I established some type of clientele on my own by working on my craft. Like, you have to become a master at what you do.
Yes.
I can tell anybody anything about their head and about their hair better than them. But I didn't have a good sense of self-work until I started working at a commission shop where they were already charging a high rate. It was in Grant Park. The condos in the complex were probably, I'd say, $750,000. So it was a extremely high, or I guess you could say affluent area or whatever it is, where people had money. And I go in, they're charging commission. They were already at a base $50 price point, so I just leveraged that to justify the price point.
Yeah.
You know what you did? You got in the room.
Right. That's what I was gonna
That's
say.
what he just said.
It's like, and it seems like environment can change what you think of yourself. And so if you're in a different environment where it's less valuable homes, the cars don't look as good, you're gonna think that you're that level. But you put yourself in a higher level, so you automatically raise your mind. You're the same person, just in a different environment. And then you took that with you, which is another thought. It's like, man, once you expose yourself, like, you can't go back to where you came from. It's like, could you imagine yourself going back and cutting hair and charging the cheaper rate?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think the biggest thing is also not being, you have to be realistic. In a world of, well, first off, you make good money by being unrealistic, but you have to still build a sustainable business.
Right.
We all know we're in a recession right now. I would rather have an abundance of business than try to nickel and dime the people who pay my bills.
What do you mean by that?
So by that I mean it's easier. Well, abundance of business comes by having abundance of people who want your service. Now, the higher you go up in price point, once you get into like the hundreds or the 250s and stuff, you cut off the people that you service. And And now you don't have an abundance of people. Majority of the people who are working class people, they're going to be right in that $50 to $75 range right now, where they
Like high enough, but not too high.
Exact to where it doesn't make sense, because somebody like you and somebody like Dre, you guys are getting haircuts once a week to every 2.5 weeks.
Once a week.
Yeah.
It does not make sense for you to pay $250, $1,000. Not what would that be for you? $1,000 a month for a haircut,
Right.
and you're coming to see me. Now, house calls are a different story. That's different. You're paying for.
We were talking about that on the internet. Did you see that clip of Patrick Beverly? He was
Yes.
talking about.
He's getting a great deal.
Right.
He was getting a great deal, by the way.
Yeah, my barber, he cuts some pretty famous people. My California barber cuts some pretty famous people. I never asked him how much he charges, but I'm pretty sure he's getting a good piece of money.
Yeah.
How much did the guy charge Pat Beverly?
It was what was it?
It's like
$150.
it's like $300.
For two people.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like $150 a piece.
House call?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. You talk about your dad a lot. You reference
Yes.
my dad said, my dad did. What does your dad's influence have on your life currently as a young man?
Man, it's tremendous. It's invaluable. I forget how old I was. I remember when this guy, he bought, I want to say like 10 ATMs, 10 vending machines like at one time. And we would be going back and forth working out a deal. I didn't know what was going on. I was young. I was probably in my mid-teens, probably about 12, 13 years old. And this man is literally buying 10, 12 vending machines. And I don't even understand. Can't even fathom what he's trying to do. And had I known that then, I think it would have been a different story. But
Yeah.
But
I think because when I first met you, I didn't know you were in your 20s. Because you carry yourself like you're a lot,
As was the older
right?
person,
Like
yeah.
way more mature. And I think that a dad allows you to get to that point because he's coaching you, and it seems like you listen. It's not like you're rebelling against your dad. Like some people, they be like, "My dad said do this. I'm not doing that."
I think you had a couple of moments.
oh yeah, of course.
You had a couple of but you figured it out early.
Oh yeah.
You figured it out early. Yeah.
Like, I mean, this isn't super sexy or whatever, but getting the success isn't sexy. But like, I bought a car my 21st birthday, sold it. It didn't make sense for me.
Tell that story about the car.
Okay.
What kind of car was it?
It was a Lexus. It was like a Lexus
Navy
IS.
blue.
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah. It was dope. But yeah, it's a car. And when you're established, it doesn't really matter that much. But for me, being young, I couldn't justify it anymore. The money that I was spending on it, I was spending like a little bit over $1,000 a month. And just for me being my age, I would rather have that money saved and invested than spent on a vehicle. The assets versus liabilities, it didn't make sense anymore.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Because yeah. So I remember talking about the car, and
You're talking to Andre, or you're just talking to
yes,
Jim?
I was talking to Dre about the car, and he was like, "Bro, get the house before you get the car."
Yeah.
And looking at it now, the money that I spent on that car, the down payment, it cost me money to get out of the car. All that money combined, I could have put a down payment on the property.
Yeah.
That's
The crazy thing about it is like that thought. It sounds so basic, but when you get the house, it kind of allows you to get the car.
It just makes it easier.
Yeah, it makes it way easier.
And the car takes away from buying the house. Because
Exactly.
That's the income ratio.
Exactly. So it's like if you put the cart before the horse, now you can't ever get the horse.
It's all about delaying. So a large part of success, and I'll let people define what success means to them. How much can you delay and for how long? Right? So I'm vegetarian the past couple of weeks, no alcohol, no soda, working out every single day.
Congrats.
Right? So the longer I can delay me doing all that stuff for, the better I'll feel, the better I'll look. Just that simple.
100%.
There's no gray with this whole thing here. You got rid of the car, you're able to save more money, you're able to do these other things. Now your investments are growing up. Now your FICO probably went up. Now this time next year, you have the option to be in the house or not, or probably even less time than that.
No, I was about to say, and like, this is the unsexy stuff that positions you later. Like me and my wife, we moved back in with my parents, because I looked at what I was paying. Mind you, I was staying in one of my dad's properties, which I
Shout out to Dad. Can we get shout out Dad real
shout
quick?
out to Pops. Shout out to you, Dad. But yeah, I looked at the numbers and I was like, I was already paying all the bills. My wife, she was working, we are saving all her money, but I was like, I would rather save more. It doesn't make sense. So they allowed us to move back in, and
I respect it.
expenses are super low.
I would say staying at home with your parents isn't an age thing. It's a circumstances thing. And
You don't think it's an age thing?
it depends on what
You're 36, right?
It depends on that's why I say it's a circumstances thing.
Okay.
But a lot of things go into your circumstances. A lot of things, not just like what your environment looks like or what your life looks like, but it's also how are you reacting to your life. So if you're staying at home and you're bullshitting, all right, that goes into the circumstances. But if you're staying at home and you're grinding, you're hustling, you're never really home, you're only really there to sleep, I don't think there's an age limit on that. If you're going to a place, now that shouldn't be your permanent location. It shouldn't be like we just here because we're here. But I feel like I put out this tweet and I was like, it's funny because a lot of people will house hack with strangers, but they won't bunk up with their family.
Damn, that's deep.
And so I think I told you I want to buy a house with my dad, and so that's the goal, is to buy a house with my dad. But it's like technically I'd be living with my dad then.
Once a month, once every 2 months.
I'd be part owner. But
yeah, there's a big difference with that.
But I live in a community where I live. Granted, every home worth more than $500,000. You got an Asian family, and it's a family in there. They got 4 or 5 cars parked outside of that house because it's multiple people inside that house. I live right next door to a Mexican family. It's 2 grown men living in that house, and you can tell who's the older one who owns the house. And he has his wife. I don't know if they have kids, but they have like a younger guy there, and you know who he's there with his wife and his daughter, and he be grinding. Yeah. And he goes back and he fixes up the house. He does stuff. So, I mean, I know we probably differ in opinion on that, and I think we differ in opinion for different reasons. Mm-hmm. You were more so like, I don't want you to stay at home because it's going to make you lazy. It's going to make you unproductive. You're going to be slacking, that kind of stuff.
And I also moved out when I was 22, when I was able to buy a property, right? So I made it a priority to buy a property as young as possible because I knew that with my income, it would be hard for me to save money and pay rent and do all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. I do think if you're past a certain age, you got to get out of mom's crib. 30, 35, 40, not 30. I wouldn't even stop.
I boomeranged home a few times.
But how long have you been out for?
How old am I? 36. I mean, when I got married, we moved out, and that was when I was 29.
Yeah,
so it's been a little bit. But I'm not 21 either. When I was 21, I was probably boomeranging back home.
Hey,
but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Let's talk about you, though. Because you're still grinding, right?
Oh, yeah.
The grind never stops.
At all.
And so you're in the process of looking for a property, right?
Yes.
What's that process been like for you?
It's been tough, especially in this market. So my angle now has been buy land. I'm connected on the construction end, but I may just end up just buying some land. Construction and permitting is where you take out you basically use your land as collateral to build the property,
to support the construction loan, right?
Mm-hmm. And it converts into a mortgage.
What led you to that? Because it's expensive out here.
Pops.
Oh, shout out to Pops again.
Yeah. I believe that's what he did with the home we stay in now.
Really?
Yeah.
So what do the numbers look like to put something like that together, hypothetically speaking?
Okay, so it honestly depends on which way you want to go. If you want to go the FHA route, it's a lot cheaper. You would only need so they'll let you borrow about 60% of what you have. So let's just say you have a $10,000 property. Mm-hmm. You have $6K in. You have $6K worth of down payment to go towards whatever you want to build out. So if you want to build out, it's bad now because the interest rates are high. Mm-hmm. But let's just say you have $10K worth of equity in a property. You got $10K worth of down payment, and you're good to go.
Right, and that goes towards the final value of the property.
Oh, yeah.
So they're financing the construction, and they're putting that $10K into, let's say you build a house that costs $150K, $200K. Yeah. And they're putting that $10K into that.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's going to appraise higher than what the construction cost was.
And that's
so you can refinance out of that, get your cash out refinance, get your cash out the deal, and do it again.
And that's the gem for people. And interestingly enough, this is what they do a lot in very wealthy communities. I used to work in Orange County, and what you'll see is in like middle class areas, they're selling you the finished house. In wealthy areas, they're selling you the lot.
Yeah.
And so you go in, you buy the lot, and then you bring in your builder and you build the house. And let's say it costs you $500,000 to build this house. You're not building a $500,000 house. You're building a house that might be worth $750, $900, whatever.
Exactly.
And so that's why it's the play. And that's how they get to live how they live, because they think a little bit differently. Where are you looking for land?
I don't know if I should say that.
Oh, he don't want you guys going to his area.
Yeah,
A little bit outside of Metro Atlanta.
Yeah, we're gonna say that towards the east.
How much is the land out there?
Man, lots are cheap. I just talked to my one of my advisors out
I need
there.
to buy a lot in Atlanta then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can. So, if you're looking in like I would say anywhere from about 45 minutes away from the city, you can probably get a decent lot to put maybe 2 homes on for about $20K. If you go further east, I would say about an hour 30 away from the city, you can probably get a lot for about $5K.
Yeah. And so that's what your dad did. He bought the lot, built the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so he probably already has the connections for the builders and everything.
Oh yeah,
Have you already run the numbers on what it would cost to build what you want to live in?
right now it's at 105 a square foot, so it's not bad at all.
105 a foot. How big of the house would you want to build?
I'm looking to stay in small multifamily.
Yeah,
Because
so you're gonna build a multifamily.
Yes,
Smart dude.
because think about it, you can build it out, extremely low down payment. So let's just say I want to do a quadruplex. So let's just say it's $1,000 a unit.
Right.
You do a 2 on each side. We'll do two stories, 4 units. You can build them out at what would that be? That would be about 425.
425.
425.
Lease them up.
And live for free.
So he's in a cool position, right? He's in a cool position because he has the option to never have to make a mortgage payment out of his pocket ever in life. Let's just say he repeats that cycle, the 2 through 4 unit, even every 3 years till 30. And then at 30, he gets a single family because he wants his own space.
It's gonna be a big ass house too.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that at this age, starting out and keeping it going consistently? Oh, it's a wrap.
That's dope, man. It's funny because I've been looking at real estate in Atlanta, and I'm always looking at finished products or like fixer uppers. But I never thought about going outside of Atlanta, buying the land, because my uncle lives in Loganville.
Oh yeah,
So I'm like, if I could drive to Loganville, I could just drive the other way an hour and still be in that Atlanta vicinity.
Yeah, most definitely. Gentrification works like a ripple effect. So generally, it'll be one spot that they'll hit, and then it just explodes outward from there. And I noticed that in high school. I went to high school in Decatur, and driving from Newton County all the way to Decatur, Georgia, you pass by a lot of property. You pass by a lot of new development. You see a lot of construction. You see a lot of road work. So what I started to pick up on was, hey, when they start paving the roads, hold on, they're about to start fixing the houses up here. Oh, they just put a Dollar General right here. They just put a Publix right here. But I wasn't really young enough to actually be able to swing a stick in the market. But now I'm making my own money, saving up so I can.
What is it?
Get in there.
What is it like engaging in this process as an entrepreneur?
Oof. It's tough because you have to still maintain the baby that you've already given birth to. And that's why I commend older men that have children, men that have nieces and nephews, because you can't just leave. I can't just leave the barbering on the side. I still have to cut hair. Tomorrow I'll be in the shop at 6 o'clock.
They get in there early, man.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
another thing I noticed. They get there early.
Yeah. I'm gonna be in the shop tomorrow at 6. So I have to be able to delegate things to my wife, so she can handle all the admin business stuff, and I can take care of the bringing on the bacon.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about opening up your own like salon suite type concept?
Oh, most definitely. But if I want to get into it right now, I I would have to either partner or own a part of the commercial real estate, because you could the same house hacking model I gave you with like residential real estate. You can do that with commercial. You just plant your business in a space and allow the other tenants to pay for it.
That's the real play, man.
That's a vibe
That's
right
a
there.
huge play.
It's a vibe right there.
Yeah.
Like, if you can do that, what's cool is your business and the other tenants pay off the commercial real estate, not just your actual residential real estate that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the equity, then you get the appreciation, then you get the cash flow, and that will set you free for life. But it might take a while. I was playing golf with a guy, and he said he owns like 5-6 buildings in Dallas, commercial buildings. He said he bought them at like $50 a foot, and just got an offer like $500 a foot.
Whoa.
Wow.
And so I was like, this dude, he was dumber. You could tell he was rich. You could tell he was rich. Like, from his hair to his skin, like, you could tell. But yeah, we sleep on commercial real estate. And that was one thing they were discussing when I was in Dallas a lot. Like, Tim Jackson's big on commercial real estate. I was on the panel with Tim Jackson and Chris Senegal, man. That's some crazy stuff.
You know, I was looking at that. I was like, man, I own or done ventures with half of that panel or most of that panel. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Shout out to
Some
you
crazy
guys.
stuff, man.
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
So you speak to a lot of older people, so like
Yes.
30, 35, 40, 45 or so. Let's think of the people who you deem as successful. What are some common traits that you've seen within them?
Majority of them wake up early. Majority of them groom themselves on a regular basis. What's another one?
How about mastery?
Oh yeah, all of them are experts at what they do. From Andre to my guy Todd over here. Everybody's an expert at what they do. And also they don't rush things. They don't rush.
That's a gym, man.
That's hard. Yeah.
And what I'm noticing now with my generation is that there's so many different things to get into that it's really hard, because you'll look at what you're doing over here and it's like, oh, well, I need an extra, $2-3K a month to get to a certain goal. But you don't look at what you already have in your hands. And that's one of the conversations I had with Dre. He said, well, what can you do with what you already have to make up the difference or to get to where you want to get? And that's when I started doubling down on my social media and really maximizing, filling up my space. We're going to get deep right quick for the time that we have left.
Mm-hmm.
So who is it? I believe it may be, what's his name? The Science of Getting Rich. You know who wrote that? The Science of Getting Rich.
Napoleon Hill?
No, it's not.
You know, you probably know the book. Gosh.
I know it's like a weird name. I have it in my library.
Not Neville Garnett, but either way it goes,
I'm gonna find it really quick.
one of the keys to growth while he's finding that is filling up your space. A balloon, if you don't put enough air in it, it won't inflate. But if you overinflate it with air, it'll pop and find another vessel.
Wallace D. Waddles.
Yep. So one of the principles that I was not working is filling up my current. Well, one of the principles I'm working is filling up my current space. So by that, maximizing what I already have in my hands to get a new vessel.
And that's
Boy, smart, man.
That's deep. and most people don't do that. Most people, when they need more money, they're going to say, okay, let me go start something totally different. And sometimes that's needed. But have you explored all the options within what you currently have going on to expand your income, what's currently working for you?
Yeah. That's
If you make a bomb-ass salmon, you don't necessarily need to make a bomb-ass chicken. Maybe bomb mashed potatoes or French fries are easier and cheaper.
Something to complement that.
Something to complement it rather than just going to something totally different. So knowing when to launch what is a big deal.
one thing that Dre told me is he said, stick with what's working, man. He's like, if you found success with the options course, why are you doing something different? Go back to that. But then I like the idea of adding layers to what you have, because you likely have people who are already invested in you that so much so they've already given you money that they'd be willing to give you even more money if you had something else to offer.
There you go.
And so it's like you got to give them the mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
You got to give them the whatever that might be.
Go all in, guys. Go all in. If you aren't happy with where you're at, see how if you are going all in. And most people aren't.
Oh, yeah. Such as my units class that I have coming up is a temporary units class that I have coming up. The flyer is dropping today on my Instagram.
Okay.
So go follow, go check it out if you're a barber in the area, or if you want to fly in. I got the space, and let's work.
What's a units class?
So it is a hair unit, man weave.
Oh, I can get one?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, Drake gonna have waves, man.
Can you imagine me with hair? I've had hair in 20 years.
But yeah, it's super simple.
I like it, man.
Yeah.
So this is a live class or is it a recorded class or both?
The option will be open for both.
Yeah, I like it, man. Shout out to that. Where can they find that?
You can. Well, actually, we're doing pre-sales right now. We just wanted to make sure we got all the literature together, so we're still working on that. But hey, look, we got a pre-sale going, and it's only $99. So I would get it. The average unit is $250. So
Make that back the first time.
exactly.
Oof, good job.
Invest in yourself, y'all. I saw that, and we're gonna pivot the conversation more to social media. But I saw that you were doing interviews of your customers.
Yes.
Are you still doing that? How's that going?
Yes, I am. It's going great.
I think that's the most fire idea.
That's dope.
If you're a barber, man, you probably got some dope people sitting in your chair, man. You got to capture that content.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is Tim actually he well Todd we can cut that out. but my guy Todd, he actually he helped nurture that idea, and one day I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So the type of people that I cut, mind you, I work at one of the most affluent shops in Atlanta, from lawyers, sheriffs, everybody, the who's who in Atlanta comes through that shop. And just being as young as I am and having the opportunity to ask those people's questions, get unsolicited solicit wisdom off of them is amazing. Something I just found out is that the owner of my shop, he was actually Dennis Kimbrough has been one of his mentors for the past 15 years.
Wow.
And if you guys don't know the significance of that, go get the book.
Yeah. we interviewed Dennis Kimbrough right out there a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dr. Kimbrough, the great Dr. Kimbrough.
Yeah.
Social media, you mentioned the power of like thumbnails and getting the views up. Are you using that to increase your business as well, or what does that look like for you?
Almost definitely. So within the past 3 weeks, I've at least multiplied my views by six times. So I've multiplied my exposure by 6 times, just by thumbnails. So the way that the algorithm works, if you draw people's attention, and you can hold them there, so Instagram will do you a favor and promote your videos and promote your content to other people. And it actually, I'll give a brief story, but it was this barber who had a course. It was kind of expensive, so I decided not to go with it. Mind you, this was about 2 years ago. And I was just having a conversation with my wife on, well, why is Instagram not pushing my content? I have great quality, I'm consistent, but my page just isn't growing. And when I asked myself that question, the answer came. So my wife was like, well, let me see what I can do. So she found the same guy and was about to sign me up for another consultation. And I was like, nah, I already checked him out or whatever. What she did was she went to all of the testimonials that he had on his page. And she found out, what the least common denominator or whatever it is, the greatest common factor. But the thing that they had in common that I was not doing, she found that out, and it was thumbnails. And we started it off 3 weeks ago, and literally, like, my page is grown tremendously from that.
And he's talking thumbnails for Instagram Reels, Instagram videos, anything?
TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube. And it doesn't take that much time, honestly.
Everything needs a thumbnail.
Yeah.
Everything's
Give me 1 second to talk to these brothers, and then we'll wrap it up. Let them know where we are.
Man, but Dre.
It's funny because I gave another barber that idea. I'm like, man, you got all this. I feel like And it helps. It's content that's completely unrelated to you as a business person, but it still brings you business.
Oh yeah.
My barber in California, he had this show. He had like an Air Jordan brand contacted him, and they said, we want to like highlight your brand and launch a shoe while we're doing it. And my barber had, it's like a shop with like 6 chairs. 4 of them were full. He'd been trying to fill those 2 chairs for the longest. And for some reason, when he launched the Jordan brand partnership and Jordan promoted it on their page, he got 2 barbers. Something completely unrelated. You wouldn't even think it was related, but it still got him business.
If you have the opportunity to look good and or make someone else look good, it's going to bring you more money. Mm-hmm. Either one of those 2 things works.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Yeah.
Man.
So, man, where do you see yourself in the future? Like, if you could predict 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do you see you?
30.
30?
30.
30
Yeah,
years
30.
from now? At your,
No, at 30.
At 30?
Yeah, 30. I got to pause.
That's cool. That's cool.
30 years old. A few multifamily properties.
Okay.
More than likely in apartment buildings. At least one barber shop, venturing into commercial real estate.
Nice.
That'd be dope, man.
Nice. Good
That'd
stuff.
be really cool.
Oh, and I want a homestead. Well, I don't want a homestead. I'm getting a
What's
homestead.
a homestead?
So it's
I'm
a
ignorant.
it's a big piece of land with that's self-sufficient. So you have the solar, the water, and it's really dope.
That's smart, dope.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Maybe that's what I should do.
Dope. How many
Yeah.
kids do you want?
6.
Okay.
How important is marriage to you?
Man, I couldn't put a number on it.
Wow.
How long have you known your wife?
3 years.
3 years.
Yep.
And how long have you been married?
Been married 7 months.
And what's have you been seeing? Because I mean, I know when I got married, I definitely saw like the benefits that came from it. It wasn't always easy. But I mean, what like worth having is truly easy.
Oof, that's deep.
Oh no, man, on the marriage end, it makes you grow so much. Like, I know Dre, I know you've seen it from the last time we spoke, but it just makes you grow. You have to be more patient. You have to be more compassionate. It just makes you grow. And I honestly would say mature.
Yeah.
And come into fullness as a man.
Mm-hmm. And wait till you have kids, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Even more. It's gonna be even more.
I got one on the way, man. He'll be here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he'll be here in 3 months.
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Boy or girl? Oh, you said boy.
Oh, it's
You said
a
he.
son. Yep.
Okay. You gonna name after you?
Yes,
Nice.
All right.
You have like a biblical name.
Josiah.
Yeah. Is that a
Yeah.
biblical name?
Yeah, he was the youngest king in the Bible. He became king at 8.
That's dope, man.
So you're 21. Your wife is around your age. When you told people that you were getting married, what was the reaction? That
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. I didn't tell some certain people until the week of, and like
Pause that. That is genius. Know who to tell what. I don't know what camera's on. Know who to tell what and know who not to tell what. Not everyone's going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't need any, with certain things that are really sacred, you don't need any energy contaminating it.
Man.
Okay, all right, keep going.
man, because like literally, it was this very, very influential person, like extremely influential person, who I kind of told him the day before I found the engagement ring. Literally the day before I found the engagement ring, and of course it was he wasn't encouraging me to do it. And like we literally talked after his cut for like almost an hour on why I shouldn't get married because of the upside of my career or whatever it may whatever you call it. But if I would have listened to him, I would have missed out on getting. And I actually got my wife's engagement ring for a steal the next day. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have took that opportunity.
Yeah. Dope, man. I'm gonna hit you with the wrap up questions, even though we're out of time.
But not everyone told you don't do it. Some people told you to do it.
Dre encouraged me, man.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Brother Dre.
What's your favorite business or investing book?
Woo. Wow. Favorite business or investing?
Or podcast, maybe?
Or podcast?
Or YouTube channel?
Shout out to Side Capital, everybody.
Yeah, man.
But nah, I like to listen to people who I'm around. So people like Todd, people like Dre, because I know their information is real. Now, when you say large scale or like really, really big name podcast or whatever, I love the Bigger Pockets podcast. I'm listening to the Multifamily Millionaire by them right now.
That's a new book. I never heard of that one.
Yeah,
Have you been on the Bigger Pockets podcast yet?
I haven't, no.
We gotta holler at Henry.
I know.
Can we get Charles on?
I
there?
just played golf with Henry a few months ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Great dude.
I got one of Henry's courses.
Yeah,
Henry's the man.
Henry's the man. Yeah.
What sets apart successful entrepreneurs from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
I would say wisdom and prudence.
Steve.
And my last question for you is, what does wealth mean to you?
Ooh.
I want to give a hidden answer. There's two men in Antarctica. One has $1 million in cash, but the other has coats. Who's the wealthiest?
One of them has what again?
The second one has coats.
Coats. What do you mean?
Coats. Like furs, coats,
Oh,
jackets.
they're both.
Nah, because see, wealth is. All right, I'm gonna do it. Okay, so in America, we've been trained that the dollar is the real wealth, but no, the dollar doesn't mean anything. That's why we trade stuff for the dollar. People value the haircut more than they value the $60. If you were in Antarctica and didn't have anything to wear, you would value the coat more than your $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's having what the people want.
That's a bar.
Steve.
I love it, man.
That boy, they're good.
What a great way to end the show, man. Thank you for coming on. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they support what you have going on?
Y'all can follow my Instagram at Mr. Josiah Corker, MrJosiahCorker. And my TikTok is the same, MrJosiahCorker.
Send him a baby shower gift.
Yeah.
Yes,
We hit him with that heat. The podcast editor thought we was going to be ranting the whole time, man.
for Junior.